Hello everybody, welcome to the Common Game Movie Show. My name is D-Sean, and today I'm here to give you a video game review. Now, I don't do them too often because I don't really buy brand new video games too often. I'm not as much of a game, like I used to do a lot more gaming stuff when I was hanging out with Seth all the time. But me and Seth don't hang out as much as we used to a long time ago, so I don't do a lot of video game reviews because I just don't buy a lot of video games fresh out the box. Like, I do them when I buy them fresh, like for Red Dead and stuff like that, and Resident Evil. But I don't do a ton of it. But I will tell you this: I'm doing this one because I'm so happy to tell you guys this is my review of WWE 2K22. If you don't know, I am a massive wrestling fan, particularly WWE. But I am a fan of wrestling in general. I do know of the AEWs, the Ring of Honors and things like that, the New Japan Wrestling. I do know of those things and know of a lot of guys in those things. But mainly I'm a WWE guy. Mainly. I watched, AEW and other things like that, but that's just mainly over here. TNA, all that stuff. I'm mainly over there, but I am aware and I do watch some of those things when they're available to me, but it's not always easy to have those things available other than AEW. Not a lot of other stuff are available to you, but I digress. I've been a massive fan of WWE for as long as I can remember. I have a lot of problems. Don't want to get into that here, but I have been. And I've been a massive fan of the video games for a long time. I've played every single game. I haven't bought every single game, but I've played every single game. So, except 20. I heard 20 was just so bad, and like they were giving that shit away for free, and I was just like, I don't even want to. I heard 20 was like the worst game of the year, so they took a year off. They took 2 years off. Yeah, it took 2 years off to build this new game from the engine, build it from the ground up and come up with a new system and make the graphics and make it a little less glitchy and all these different things, and it worked. Now I will say this is kind of scary because I believe the contract with 2K is up and WWE are thinking about working with EA to make the new game. So I'm hoping that doesn't work because I think this game is a return to form. All disclosure, I think WWE 2K19, I think it was 1919 was like one of the best wrestling games that year. Like that was one of the best wrestling games. I loved it. It was so fun. I played it a lot of it. This game is my new favorite of the 2K series so far. Now, the return of GM mode. Now, like I said, I'll get into some of the like more nuanced details. But first, I'll talk about the positives. First of all, the return of GM mode. Awesome. I love GM mode. It was such a fun thing to do. Like honestly, if I could do like live streams and stuff like that, I would just be playing the shit out of this game online and just showing people me play like GM mode and things of that nature because I have a blast with that. I love GM mode. Then there are concepts in GM mode that are interesting and fun now. Like the fact that because in the past GM mode, all you had to do was put on great matches and whatnot, and you just have to worry about the matches. And it wasn't even so much the matches and certain aspects of it and just dudes getting hurt and things of that nature. This one, there's a bit more strategy to it. They added a bit more strategy to it because they added this little tidbit of characters having certain attributes, being brawlers, like high flyers, and good guys and bad guys, and certain how fans respond differently. Like if you have two good guys fighting each other, it might not the fans might not react as positively to it as if you have a good guy and a bad guy going against each other. If you have a good guy and a bad guy if you have two guys in a rivalry, it's going to get more fan reaction and more stars than two guys who are just wrestling. But there are certain aspects that you have to actually think about. Not only that, but you're given a limited amount of money, at least at the beginning, and you have to unlock, you start off and you're at these shitty venues. Like it's really almost like it's not like I said, the old game was just your SmackDown, your Raw, boom, boom. You got the Raw arena, SmackDown arena, all that stuff. You don't even have to worry about it. But this one is like, no. You have to pay for everything. You have to pay for the crew. You have to pay for the venue you're going to be at. Like, if you want to be at an actual big venue, SmackDown, let's say you're the general manager of SmackDown. You want to be at a big SmackDown, like regular SmackDown, venue, you have to pay a lot of money for that. So sometimes you just have to go to smaller venues. Sometimes you have to host you basically have to have your shows at NXT arenas. Like, you have to pay for the pyro. You have to pay for the advertising. Because if you don't there's different advertising things. There's so much you have to negotiate with if certain superstars don't feel happy, they could just straight up be like, I don't want to work anymore. You have to negotiate on pricing and contracts. You have to talk about other superstars wanting to get traded and some other superstars wanting to come over. There's so much going on. There's so many things you can do. But at the same time, on a negative note on it, is that it's too limiting. Now, granted, I see what they're doing, and I know why they didn't want to add, because, like, first of all, you can only have 3 matches on a card. You can only have 3 matches on a card, and you can only have 2 promos. In the past, you can have, like, 4 or 5 matches, and, like, they give you, like, these, just, like 4 or 5, maybe 6, like, blocks, and you could just, if you want a promo here, you can put a promo here. If you want, like, a guy there, you can put a guy there. But this year, they limited it. And I see why they limited it, because there are certain new things they're implementing, because implementing that will make it hard. And on top of that, when you do the draft pool, it's not all the superstars. It's like most of them, but it's not all of them. And granted, it's like, I mean, I guess that's not too bad, considering all those superstars who weren't in the original draft pool will slowly start to pop up in the free agent pool. You know, because the limited amount of money they give you, it's not enough money to afford all the superstars. And because you have to spend money on other things other than just the superstars, it makes it almost impossible. Like, you have to manage your roster. I'm talking like, this is like fucking playing Madden with the cap on kind of shit. You have to actually manage your fucking money and manage your resources. And like, and the thing is, another thing I really don't like is, hey, you can play the match. The star system isn't on there anymore. At least it's not on there for me. Maybe it's on there for you guys. I saw it. It should be on there. But the sense of star system, because in my mind I was like, well, I'm gonna cheat the system. I'm gonna just play all these matches, put on ridiculous like 5-star matches in every one of these matches. That's gonna, you know, putting on great matches is gonna help me get more money, and, you know, then I won't even have to put them in any crazy stipulation matches or anything like that. But the star system doesn't pop up. At least it doesn't pop up for me. And no matter what, and even every match I play, I keep getting like disappointment or something. So like, I'm stuck to have to just, you know, accept that I have to just put 2 guys together and kind of randomize it. And the thing about it too, if you use a superstar too much, he's gonna get hurt. If you know, certain superstars can complain that they don't have title matches. And there's unique shit. Like AJ Styles is from he's from Atlanta, and literally something pops up that goes, AJ Styles like, you have to put him on a show in Atlanta to get an achievement. And there's these other things, like these cards that you get, these little power cards that you get that can do anything from affecting the other show to preventing the healing one of your injured superstars. There's all kinds of things you can do. So I do like the basis of this game, like of this My GM mode, which is why I'm really hoping they get the return next year and do it again, like just add upon this. But from a gameplay perspective, it's totally different. There's a bit more of a free-flowing combat system. There's like, no longer is it, you know, more like tactic, like you know, like it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? Because I know there's some people who like the old school way of playing these wrestling games where you could just kind of button mash, and like, if you know a little bit, they seem to have found a medium range between people who just want to pick it up and button mash and do cool things, and people who want to really be strategical. First of all, they got rid of the reversal bars. In the past games, there were like a limited amount of reversals you had, and like you had these bars, and depending on how high your reversal was anyways, and what you're reversing from, the bar would go down. If you're reversing a finisher, like half the damn thing would go down. But like if you're reversing, like the bar would go down, you know, to make it like you really have to be strategical about when you reverse something. They've gotten rid of that bar, and like, in getting rid of it, and they made it more free flowing. Like, you could get into long sequences that don't feel awkward of reversals and whatnot. But it seems like you can't reverse if you get too tired though. Like they did get rid of the stamina bar. Like, it's not there anymore, but you still need a certain amount of like energy to still do certain moves. And if it's too low, you can't reverse something. So there's still a reversal bar sort of there, but it's like this one bar that that's like, that is for everything. That's for like using your signatures and whatnot. Like I said, the game's more smoother. There's more animations than ever before. There's so many things you can do. It's a huge array of massive roster. There are a lot. I haven't played the showcase yet, so I can't really give you any judgment on that. My Rise mode, getting into that, I think this is the best My Rise so far. Now, once again, just like everything else in this game, this feels like the base for a game that comes next. Like 2K23 is gonna be the greatest wrestling game of all time. If they can build upon the basis of this, because in the past the My Rise modes have kind of been like shitty ass CW shows where you have this story you're going through, and sure, you can do little alternate things and do like one or different things here. But at the end of the day, there's a story that's already written, and you're either gonna end it a heel or a face, basically. You know, you're either gonna end it an ass or not. But there's a story that's gonna happen no matter what you do. This year they've gone with a different vibe to it, more of an RPG vibe, sort of. It's a little. Now, granted, they got rid of that. They got rid of the RPG like upgrade system, and they simplified it. Now you're just simplified stuff. It's just like, you know, defense and, you know, arrow stuff. It's just simplified stuff now, you know, to upgrade your character. You know, not making it too complicated there. But the way they did the My Rise mode is you have an infinite amount of options. Now there are now the problem, there's so many different story beats, there's so many different opportunities to turn face and turn heel. There are so, like, I do like the fact that the options are so different. First of all, the options change whether you're a heel or a face. So there are certain side kind of storylines you can't even get involved in if you're a heel or a face. They change depending on what brand you're on. If you're on SmackDown, they're different. If you're on Raw, they're different. If you're on NXT, they're different. They change depending on if you chose to be a man or a woman, it changes as well. So if you choose to be a woman and do it on SmackDown, do it on Raw or NXT, it is different on all of those shows depending on if you're a heel in the face. This is the most replayable My Rise mode they've ever made. Just because, like, I'm watching other people play it, and my experience playing it is totally different than theirs. Just because I chose to go, like, for instance, I chose to go to NXT. Because in my personal opinion, if I was a superstar and creating a superstar, my perfect story is to go to NXT, be the NXT champion, be dominant there, then go to the main roster, go to Raw or SmackDown, dominate there, and go to another brand, dominate there. That's my idea of the, you know, of a career right there. So I went to NXT, and my experience is like totally different than what he's doing when he went to SmackDown. Like, and the thing is, the only major complaint I have about the My Rise mode is that the stories that you get into, the little stories you get into, are too small. Now it's not like they're generic and they just randomly pick out a character and go, that's who you're beefing with. Like, when you beef with Cameron Grimes, he acts like Cameron Grimes. If you don't know who Cameron Grimes is, you know, from NXT. If you beef with Randy Orton, he acts like Randy Orton. He talks like Randy Orton. He's coming after you. He's sneaking up and hitting RKOs. So it's not that the actual substance of these stories aren't actually, you know, pretty fun. They're short. They're like 1 or 2 weeks. You have like 1 or 2, 3 matches and the story's over and you're moving on to something else. And even when you win a belt, because I won the North American Championship in My Rise, like, you're either in a story that involves your belt or you don't even have it at all. And I think that's kind of funny. And, like, you know, it's so funny. And you don't really get too much for winning. Like, you get a lot of points for winning it, but you don't really get too much for defending it. And like I said, they just need to build upon this. Come back. This is a good idea. This what they're doing here is a really good idea, allowing you to go so many different directions. And there's so many different ways you can get stories and get little tidbits here. And there's so many ways to earn points to make your character better. I think they got something here. They just need to add more to it, in my opinion. They need to add more to it. Like maybe have at least 1 or 2 stories. At least have, you know, 1 story on each brand be a really big story. Because so far, it's all been like mini little stories that happen and then it ends. Mini little stories that happens and then it ends. Now, granted, maybe it's because I keep winning. Because they do keep saying in the little bar thing and the achievement thing is depending on if you win or lose is how the story goes. So maybe it's one of those things where if I lost, they might do some more stuff. I don't know. Either way, it even changes, by the way, too, depending on how your superstar is, because you get like 4 options up top when you're making your superstar. You can either be an indie guy, and if you're an indie wrestler, you've been trained by Booker T. You could be an athlete, and if you're an athlete, you're like a former, you know, NFL, you're like a former college elite athlete. You could be an MMA guy, if you're an MMA guy, or you can be like a celebrity who got into the world of wrestling. So I chose the indie wrestler, but like I said, I think this is the best My Rise because there's so many different options. Because you know because if you choose something different, the entire interactions are different. You know, they don't talk to you like you're just some indie wrestler. They talk to you like, oh, you're just some celebrity. So like I said, that my rise is worth it, you know, it's worth it. This year, I have to say I'm having a great time with this game. It's a return to form. I give WWE 2K22 an 8 out of 10. Anyway, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please do like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. There are some other things they changed too. They changed, like, they took out certain aspects. Some of those mini games are gone. Some of them stuck around. But overall, I'm having a great time. Anyway, thank you guys again. I'll see you on the next one.